Hello?
Who is this? Who is it?
This is Alex. Who's this?
Alex?
Yeah.
Hi, Alex. My name is Sharon. I'm calling onto the show.
Okay, well, I don't know where Bob is, our host. And we probably shouldn't say much because we have no idea if we're on the air or not.
How are you doing?
Where are you located?
I'm in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Joyzy.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to send you, I was just thinking about you today, I'm going to send you a couple pieces of silver.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Hold on. Bob is calling on the other call. Hold on.
Okay.
Hello? Okay, so is there something you want me to tell everybody? Okay, well, I'll let her know, and then you can maybe reboot it. Okay, I'll let everybody know. Okay, all right, bye-bye. I got you. I'll let everybody know. Well, believe it or not, our host is locked out. He needs all of us to get off the phone so he can reboot the system and try to get us all on, at least himself.
Alex.
There you go. Hey.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Really?
Yeah, there you are.
Oh, this is weird. All right. God. I don't understand. I really don't understand how this is working now because I can't. There, I can hear myself. Wow. All right. Sorry, folks. What a goofy way to start the show. As I said, welcome to the Unicus Radio Hour. I am your host and your goofy engineer, Robert Stanley. Apologize for the technical difficulties. Obviously, it was something I was doing or not doing here. Our special guest tonight is Alex Collier, as most of you already know that. What the heck? Looks like somebody's trying to Skype in here, too. That's crazy. Okay, where were we? Alex, you can hear me, though, right?
Yes, I can, Bob.
Okay. I'm putting everybody else on hold. Sorry, folks. I know there was somebody you were speaking to in New Jersey while I was trying to figure out how to get back on the air here.
Right.
So, how do I start this?
It didn't happen?
Yeah, I could publicly flog myself for not figuring this out sooner. I tested everything earlier, and it sounded perfect, and then for some reason it just wouldn't go. Really weird.
Well, it must be the agency's hack,
No, I don't think so, because all I had to do was take one plug out, put another plug in, and it seems to be, obviously, we're having a conversation. Okay. Anyway, one of the main reasons we wanted to have you back on this evening was to let everybody know how you're doing, and if you could, please give us an update on your situation.
My situation is we are good until the end of January.
Okay.
Or the end of January. After that, I don't know what's going to happen, but that's kind of where we're at the moment. I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing everything I can to release at least one of the books that I have available, and a website has been created to, if anybody's interested in getting it, it's a fiction novel that I wrote for young adults, and it's essentially, I've taken the information that I've been given and I've put it into a novel form, and the purpose of this was to take some of the pressure off that I was getting from agencies, and religious radical groups. So, if anyone is interested, the website, in order to basically sign up and get that information, is www.zen, Mountain, MOUNTAIN, publishing.com. And it's pretty simple. You just, name, email address, and when it's ready to go, we will send you folks some information about it. It won't be too far off because I have to do something. So.
And the name of the book again,
anyway, the name of the book is The Adventures of Captain Denar.
Right.
And this is book one. It's a trilogy. And I will also just tell everybody I am rewriting Defending Sacred Ground. And I am going to be including ET22, which is the information that I was giving regarding the genetics of Earth.
Wow.
And the races specific to it, that have really contributed to our gene pool.
Right.
And so that's going to be a little bit further out, but it is coming. I'm doing the best that I can, literally starting from scratch. So, but that's kind of where it's at. Could still use some help if it's available, and if it's possible. If it isn't, thank you so much for what you have done. That in itself has been a miracle, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate everyone. And a special thanks to Kay out in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So what do you want to talk about?
Okay. Well, okay, when you say help, you mean financially, if anybody is in a position to help you over the hump that you're still experiencing. That's what we're talking about here. And the information, if people, let's say, okay, you can go to the blog at unicusmagazine.com. There's information there on how you can contribute to the Alex Collier Aid Project through PayPal or through a P.O. box in Colorado. Or could we? Do you have that address, Alex, so we could give it out over the air?
The PayPal is Ivanhoe, IVANHOE 1818 at live.com.
Okay.
Or my P.O. box is P.O. Box 795, Morrison, MORRISON, Colorado 80465.
All right. Okay.
And I'm in the process of responding to those who have given. It's taken a little while, and sometimes the internet is very restricted to me. So,
sure.
But I'm doing the best I can.
All right, I understand. Anyway, I'm sure people appreciate knowing that you're okay for now. But I know there's a lot of people who are very generous around the world that sending you a little bit of assistance financially, and also thoughts and prayers and other offers that have been coming in is really wonderful, and I hope that people would continue to do that.
It's been amazing. It's blown my mind.
Yeah,
no idea.
Me too, because I'm kind of in the middle of it. A lot of people are sending me email on your behalf, and because they couldn't get hold of you directly. So, okay, Zen Mountain Publishing is what you said. Somebody's asking. ZenMountainPublishing.com.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, it's just one page right now, but
yes, that's all it is. It literally went up sometime last night.
Okay.
And it's a friend of ours in Australia who's doing it and brought us to help us out.
Right.
To help me out. And so yeah, I mean it's baby steps.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Well, I want to help people understand. This is January 5th. We're speaking on Thursday, January 5th, 2012. So if you happen to listen to this show, like a lot of people do, after the fact as an archive, an MP3, the website will have changed. Things are evolving constantly, but, we just want to put this out there. Alex has written this new book, and it will be out soon. And, of course, as he said, Defending Sacred Ground, the revised version, will be out also. And ZenMountainPublishing.com is the place where you can go to find out any updates on these books by Alex Collier. I feel obligated to, I know it's not a great way to start a show, but I feel obligated to say, once again, sorry for the technical difficulties. Thank you for sticking with me and not bailing out. There's a lot of people that want to speak to you, and I would just like to say publicly how grateful I am to this audience for helping you get through the toughest time I think that you've had ever since I've known you. This has been really scary, actually. I was very concerned about you. And, of course, I still care about you and your well-being and your family. But I do feel like I'm very optimistic. Alex. I know we talked about this before off the air, but I'm feeling, I think we have reasons to be optimistic. So I'm kind of curious what some of the people on hold here have to say, and that might actually help. I mean, there's some things I really want to cover with you tonight, but I'm very curious. So I'm going to just kind of run through the board here a little bit and see what happens if it works.
Okay.
If it really works, okay. Area code 732. Can you hear me?
Hi, I'm here.
Okay. Were you speaking to Alex earlier?
Yes, I was. I'm Sharon from New Jersey.
Okay, Sharon.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, Alex.
Hey,
Hi,
Sharon.
Stanley.
Hi.
I'm glad you're doing better, Alex, and I know all your fans care about you, and we'll be doing whatever we can to help you out.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I have a question for you. Do you know anything? Can you shed any light on the so-called 3 days of darkness that are going to be happening in 2012?
Well, as far as dates, let me just say this, Sharon. As far as dates, everything at this point is event-based. It is nearly impossible to nail anything down to a specific date unless it's a man-made creation. Simply because you're dealing with multiple dimensions at this point, and an amazingly quickly evolving consciousness of the planet Earth, the people and the beings on planet Earth. So let me just say that. My understanding about the 3 days of darkness, there's two possible scenarios, not just one. One is that a planetary body passes between us and the sun, and it basically takes 3 days to pass. That, of course, would be Nibiru and its dwarf star. The other is that just before we experience a pole shift, physical pole shift, the planet Earth herself will stop rotating on her axis. Now, that 3 days of darkness would only be on one side of the planet.
Oh, my.
But it would be 3 days, 72 hours. Those are the two scenarios. Is it a guarantee that they're going to happen? No, it is not a guarantee. There could be greater intervention than there already is now going on. And later, Bob, I want to talk to you about something.
Okay.
So remind me about that, okay?
Okay.
So I wouldn't stress it. But to be perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't stress about it. What I would do is just focus on getting yourself centered, focus on finding your spiritual base, getting really grounded, because a lot of change is coming. And it's going to look ugly for a while, but in the end, it's going to be positive, because we have to shift the consciousness of the planet. It's basically been hijacked, and we have to take it back. And there's no way we're not going to have to take it back. We have to take it back. So right. I would worry about that, the 3 days. As far as the planet and the dwarf star coming through our solar system, this happens. Will the destruction be devastating? I don't believe it will. There has been plenty of discussions since the early 90s that I was aware of from the Andromedan Council regarding intervention. I don't believe it's going to be cataclysmic. However, there are going to be some really serious Earth changes simply because the Earth has to go through it. She just has to go through it. She has to make some changes herself. And to intervene and keep the Earth from going through those changes would only make things worse for her. However, there's a great deal of talk about minimizing all these dramatic Earth changes and making them happen very slowly, okay, managed very slowly so that people can react to it. For example, peoples on coastlines around the world would be able to move inland. They would have some time, some warning to move inland in a perfect scenario. However, there are some things that was shared with me very, very recently. Well, I'm not sure how that's going to play itself out. So but that's all I know about the 3 days of darkness.
Okay.
I don't know for sure that it's going to happen, Sharon. I just don't.
Okay, thank you, Alex.
Okay?
Lovely
You're welcome, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now I'm really feeling like a boob. I obviously didn't push the right button to get myself completely on the board. I don't know if you noticed, but my signal is like 10 times stronger now. God, I love technology, but sometimes it drives me mad. Anyway, hope everybody's hearing me better now because I can certainly hear myself, finally. Gosh darn it, these people are all lining up here. Let's see if we can get a Skype call in. Hello, Skype. Are you there? Hello. Chuck, is that you? Are you coming in? Hello? Chuck? Hello, Chuck. All right. I can see you're on the board somehow. Let's see. Let's try this. Oh, man. I'm just really battling along. Okay. Now I think it's working. Go ahead. Now you're on hold. Chuck, I can't help you with this. For some reason, it's not working. Jeez. I am going to get through this. I promise. It's really stupid. Let's try this one. Area code 978. You're on the air.
Hello?
Hello. Is this Don?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Don. Do you have a question or comment for Alex?
Yes. Well, I'm glad to know that my end is working good electronically.
Somebody is, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a question for Alex.
Go ahead.
Alex, I'm a human being, a shaman of the Volcanic tribe, and one of the things that I'd like to ask you is, I believe, along with the people that are with me in this gift that we have, that there's going to be a gift of the Philosopher's Stone. And when I say the Philosopher's Stone, I mean that transmutation of physical things by means of human consciousness is about to be brought back again in the human realm. Well, if this does happen, will the material fixation on gold, silver, diamonds, and all this foolishness that people give their lives for, and even foods, will all of that be diminished greatly, and the only thing left will be a spiritual expansion?
Well, my understanding, Don, is that's exactly the direction it needs to go. We essentially have gotten trapped in creating physicality outside of ourselves. Once we get back to creating it on the inside and truly understanding and having that aha moment, that epiphany that we in fact can do it and see the results of it, it will not only shift our focus from outside back to the inside, to the inner net of ourselves, as it's been put, but it's also going to dramatically change the way we live and the way we live with each other and recognize each other. And I think that in itself would be the single most important thing, is in how we acknowledge and acknowledge each other. Right now, because we're so focused on the outside, we all see humanity as individuals living apart from each other, when in fact nothing could be further from the truth. So my understanding is, yes, as far as the material objects like gold, and you brought that up specifically, the only reason that is important to us was because of the earlier extraterrestrial groups that were coming here, mining it for use on their own home planet. That is really the only reason we even consider it, as something above and beyond all else as far as worth.
Does that mean in the next...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh. Does that mean in the next very short few years, then human beings will be on a level playing field with those that have been playing with us, but rather we will become as one? We'll recognize that we are having a being contained with what Shaman referred to as coalescent light, and that this light will be energy. And as energy, we will all come to understand that we are not only one, but we can never be destroyed. And those that would attempt to do such a thing are foolishly only transforming the energy that we would be in, but are actually not causing any harm to any human being. And this would be not only realized, but experienced, and that humans would take their rightful place as being brothers to all other life forms, no matter what realm or dimension that they come from. And I'm speaking of this as a shaman of the Pokanoka tribe, because there are others of us that do have this very same thought, and we've wondered if outsiders have often considered this, that humans are very sacred, as all life is.
Well, exactly. I mean, any physicality that holds soul, that consciously creates reality, is in fact sacred. And you brought up a very interesting point about a level playing field. I don't have a date. I'm guessing, if I had to guess, just based on my own intuition of what I have been told and the way I see things moving, I would say probably any time between 2013 and 2017 that would in fact occur. But, it's interesting when you talk about those who've been playing with us, looking at the scenario now, because of their enormous greed and ego and will to dominate and control, they are literally forcing us at this point to break free and move towards our future and to grasp it, to create something completely out of the box, which is exactly where we should have been going all along. So I'm sure that's not their intention at all, but that's in fact where we are going. And like I said earlier to Sharon from New Jersey, at this point everything is event-based. There's no clock. It's just every action has a reaction, and that's really where we're at this point. And some events are happening quicker, and some are moving slower, but they're moving into different places. It's hard to say because humanity is having to basically reclaim its power,
right?
And its common sense from this group that decided to use us to power its vision of our future.
Which is really is their future. I mean, they're not really giving us.
We're just a natural resource to manifest that for them.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they're using us to do it.
Well. Yeah.
And if that don't piss you off, nothing will.
Yeah. All right. Let's try another one here. Area code 720. Can you hear me? 720. Can you hear me? All right. Put him back on hold. If you're listening, folks, I may call on you. Area code 352. Can you hear me? I love technology so much. There you go.
So well.
Yeah, I'm just. It's really. Let's see. They're not. It's. I guess a lot of people just figure I'm not going to go to them. They're just listening. Hello, is this Jeremy? Jeremy, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello, Jeremy. How are you?
I am very well. Amazing. I just hit the one button about a minute ago. So good evening, and good evening, Alex. It's a real honor to be speaking with you.
Well, thank you, Jeremy. It's an honor to be addressing you as well.
I was just listening to your. It was a replay of what it was the one about the moon, the video that's like almost a black and white one that you did several years ago, and it was very interesting, all about the moon and everything like that. And I have really, I'm normally absolutely chock full of questions because I run a radio show, and I'd love to have you on my show. Of course, we're on Wolf Spirit Radio, but obviously you're not really wanting to do too much radio work. But I'm just trying to think of a question that I can ask on behalf of my co-hosts and everybody. And I have to say that amongst our little group, you are absolutely universally loved and respected. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Jeremy, where are you? What part of the world are you in?
I'm actually in Scotland. I have a London. I come from London. I'm a late bird, so
right.
I'm up all night running shows for the station, and we just started. We started about May time, and we got some good hosts. I think you may know Rebecca Jernigan, Alex.
Yes, I do know of her, and I shared a multiple telecast radio thing with her as well.
So you did with Kerry and everybody, yeah.
That's correct. Yes.
So
Jeremy, would you send your information to me at Ivanhoe1818@live.com?
I will just take that number down. Ivanhoe1818
at live.com.
Live.com. Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Excuse me. This is actually quite splendid. Part of my family tree on my mother's side is from Scotland. In fact, Sir Walter Scott, the writer of Ivanhoe, is one of my great-grandfathers. His daughter Patricia came to the United States to live with his brother in Philadelphia at the time of the Revolutionary War, and that's part of where my mother's family tree comes from.
Oh, right. I'm up right in the north near a place called Findhorn. Have you heard of Findhorn?
Oh, the garden, of course.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I live about 10 miles away from them, up on the hills. We moved. I moved here about 14 years ago, out of London. So we thought we'd get away from it just before all the fireworks happened.
Yeah, you did well. You did well. Jeremy, are you calling in on Skype?
Yes, I am.
Well, the quality is fantastic. There's other people that are trying to call me on Skype, and that isn't going to work for me. I can only, for some reason, I'm technologically retarded, I guess. But I cannot figure out how in the world to get them through on when they're calling me directly on Skype instead of to the show. So,
right.
What was your secret? How did you do? What did you call in on Skype?
There is a connection on the show. Once the show has started.
Yeah.
I've got my own show on Blog Talk Radio. Once the show has started, a little blue S pops up on the by the telephone number next to the player.
Got it.
And if you click that, it stops the player and then connects you into what we're on, BTR host 26.
I
line.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
And this is my live studio, so...
yeah, I can tell the quality is very good. It's not a regular phone. I could see that in a minute.
That's right. So, now, let me just see if I can come up with a question that would justify speaking with you, Alex. Obviously, you're... you only there's only what was it? Is it Morane who's left, and it was Theseus who died, or have I got it around the wrong way?
Yes, no, Theseus crossed over. He left their physicality. His particular life. He basically doubled their life expectancy in one physicality. So yeah, he left, and Morane is the one that's left. That is correct.
Interesting, this name, because I live in the county called Moray. And then there's also this ascended master who's called Moray as well, and I don't know what that's all about. But are you still in contact with them?
Yes.
With the CS? And how does he show up? Does he just appear in your room, or do you get a text message saying I'm coming? Another other thing is. Sorry, I'm now starting to fill with questions. Do they have? Can they connect in with our internet from hyperspace or whatever?
They have not. If they can, they have not. I don't know that. In fact, I'd be kind of suspect if they did. They wouldn't use our technology. Quite honestly. But no, there's telepathy. There's of course physical contact. And that's pretty much how it goes. And the telepathy can occur at any time, even in a dream state, it can occur. So there's all kinds of very interesting ways. Earth is in an amazing place at the moment. There is so much going on out there between Venus and Mars. I just wish I could do the valley parking. I really do. The tips alone would be awesome. Not to mention, what you'd have the opportunity to fly and park.
Yeah.
So there's an awful lot going on out there, and it's going to be an amazing time. For every negative thing that happens, there'll be 3 or 4 amazingly positive things that are going to occur to counterbalance it, to basically make up for all the time that we've lost, and everything's being sped up, and it's an absolute amazing gift that these races that belong to multiple councils, the Andromedan Council, the Plejarian Council, the Pleiadian Council, other councils that are out there, other groups, that they have decided to lend resources to our little tiny solar system, to help us make this transition. And a lot of people don't understand this, so I'm just going to say it, Jeremy. The movement through dimensions, the movement of changing physical form is always managed. They never leave it to chance. You just don't pop in and there you are. There is a progression, and it takes the participation of those dimensions, 4th and 5th, the mentors. That's how they're known. They're known as the mentoring groups that step in and they guide the process and the planetary race or planets through this process, so that when we get there, we are not only fully established, but completely self-responsible. And that's the key phrase, completely self-responsible. So this is all being managed. It's just they haven't really shown themselves yet to everyone. But it's coming. It's coming because people's consciousnesses are changing, and people are beginning to realize that we can't solve the problems of the world with the same thinking that created them. So we're having to stretch out of our box. And it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So,
I'm
sort of looking forward to it.
So it's going to be amazing. So when I say when, I know I listened to your earlier question and you said it's event-based. So what are the signs that as Cliff High calls them, temporal markers that we say now things are going to kick in? How do we know?
Well, they're already kicking in. They're already kicking in. I mean, the powers that be are doing everything they can to distract us and put us into fear and create a third world war and destroy the global economies of the planet. They're doing everything they can to get our attention and our focus. And they're having some trouble because people are done with that. We're all fed up with the bullshit. Excuse me, can I say that on here?
You just did.
They're really fed up with it, and they're here in the United States, and I know over in Europe, people are, and even parts of Asia, they're taking their power back, and they're like, enough is enough. When did we become the enemy? When the people are the ones who created the governments, and now the governments have decided and declared that they now own the people.
Right.
That isn't going to fly, and that never has flown. So, it's already begun. What's interesting is that we're sort of in a little bit of a lag time here. But to answer your question, I don't know when the absolute pivotal moment will be. If I ever do find out what that event is going to be, I will come back on the radio and let Bob know, or address you directly so that you can talk about it. I will let you know. But at this particular moment, I don't exactly know what that pivotal moment is. But in truth, they're all pivotal moments, even if they're little.
Yep.
They're all building an energy, a focus. It's like climbing the stairs. and that's exactly what's happening. We're climbing those.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Could you do me a favor and please contact me through my email at editor@unicusmagazine.com?
All right.
This is live, folks, in case you didn't notice.
This is live typing.
Yeah, it's cool. So I'd like to... you sound like a very interesting person. I'd like to network with your group over there in Scotland, and because I also have some family ties there as well. So I'm going to put you on hold now. Please listen to the show. We may be. I'm certainly looking forward to be in touch with you again.
Oh, bless you. Actually, the radio is not Scottish based. It's actually I don't know if you've heard of Dave Corso and Rebecca Jernigan. We're all on the same station, and it's mostly run from. Well, I do a lot of the broadcasts from here, but most of the hosts are over in America. So.
Well, either way, I'd like to network with you guys. It sounds like you're on the right path. So, thank you for calling in, Jeremy.
God bless you, Alex. God bless you, Robert,
Thank you, sir.
Keep up the great work. We love you.
Take care, Jeremy.
Thank you. Good night.
Right. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, we got a great audience here. I apologize again for not being such a great engineer, and the calls are just backing up. So let's just keep going and see what happens. Area code 619. Can you hear me?
Yes, this is Leona.
Hi, Leona. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. What an honor to talk to you, Alex. Thank you so much. I have two questions. On the last show, you said there was an 8-month window, and you sort of just answered it, but if you knew a timeline of that 8-month window. And then the other question is, what is your take on chemtrails?
Gosh, so many folks have asked me about chemtrails. And, I have not actually had the time because of my situation and my limited resources to actually do a great deal of study on chemtrails. I'm leaning, I will just say this, and it's a semi-educated, uneducated guess. My thought was that maybe they were doing something, putting these chemicals in the air to try to block some of the radiation because they know that the Earth's magnetic field is weakening. But that's just a guess. I know there's a lot of other opinions out there, but at this particular point, I could not give you a fully educated guess. What I've given you is just basically my opinion based on the little that I do know about it.
Okay.
Okay, I've not had a chance to ask VAs about it.
But the 8-month window that you had mentioned?
It's still
on
open.
the last show. It's still
open. Still open.
Okay, great.
Oh, yeah.
Now look for an email from Love and Light. I sent it to Robert, and so you know. But I have a place where you can stay for free. But anyhow, thank you so much, and I'll continue listening.
Thank you, Leona.
Give someone else the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Wow. God.
Sweet. That's awesome.
I know, you got so many neat people. Okay, before I forget, one of the emails I got for you was somebody was asking, how would one initiate physical contact or other contact with the good extraterrestrials, in your opinion? How could someone do that?
Oh, that's such a great question, and I've been asked that many, many times over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And, the only response I have to that is be really clear that you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Be really centered about it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then create the space. That's really, really important, is about creating the space for it to occur.
Right.
And there's many ways to do that, either through meditation, spending time alone in an area where you are, in fact, alone, or, it all depends if you want physical or you want telepathic. I would suggest telepathic right off the bat, so that you could ask a lot of questions and test the source yourself to make sure that it has only your highest good in mind.
Right.
That's what I would suggest, because there's so much going on here, and unfortunately, we have quite a bit of rogue groups here, including, the archons that you talk about, who are fully capable of talking for themselves.
Yeah.
So that's how I would suggest you do it. And visualize what it would look like to have those conversations, those events occur. And create a list of questions specifically about yourself, so that, you can test it.
Right.
So,
yep. Yeah, I mentioned to you the first show, I mentioned to you how it happened to me. Although I've had multiple contact scenarios, there was, shockingly enough, when I had sent a message out there mentally to the Orion Belt, is what I was looking at the moment. I wasn't really wanting to speak with them directly, but I was putting it out there like, are you kidding? You expect me to expose Washington, D.C. to the world? I mean, by myself? Come on, can't you give me some help? You guys are more advanced than me. I mean, and, the next morning this ship showed up and actually allowed me to take the pictures that I have up on my website at unicusmagazine.com. It's just, I would say this, to whoever really wants to have contact, be prepared. It's not, Alex is right, you should know what kind of contact you want to have, with whom I should say you want to have contact, but try and prepare yourself emotionally, because it's shocking. As many times as it's happened to me, there's been multiple times. In fact, one time I came off of driving away from your place in Malibu when we first met up there in the 80s. I came away from there one night riding the motorcycle, and it was really dark, but I had this just really intense tingling on the back of my neck, and I just knew somebody was up there watching me or following me. And so at one point I looked up to this area on the mountain as I was riding the bike, and I said to him mentally, I go, I know you're up there watching me. Why don't you just show yourselves? I mean, I'm not going to hurt you. And immediately the light on the craft went on, and I almost fell off my motorcycle because I couldn't concentrate. And and after a few seconds, they turned the light back off because I wasn't watching the road anymore. I just was looking up at them, which was very dangerous, riding like 50 miles an hour down a mountain road at night. But and afterwards, I remember trying to call you. I had just left your house maybe, 15 minutes earlier, and I got to a public phone, and I'm trying to call you going, Alex, they're following me. It was like, man, it's exciting, but it's also can be very unnerving, actually. So like I'm trying to warn people.
We should do a show on the Malibu years.
Yeah.
I
did get some email about that. People enjoyed hearing our little anecdotal adventures up in the ruins there.
Yep.
Okay.
Place.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah, very magical.
Back to work.
Yeah, right. Area code 480. Are you there?
Yes.
Great.
It is so much an honor to be able to talk to you, Alex, and Rob. Thank you so much for hosting the show. Just listening. The friendship between you two just make my day. Thank you so much. It's great. My question is, 2009 back in, I think Alex did a conference in Hawaii, and he mentioned something about in that year or next year, October, that to bring back the subject to the regional issues, the Japanese government, something to do with contacting Japanese government. And also that maybe 10 years back from that time, he mentioned of something that the Illuminati had actually planned to sink one of the islands in Japan.
Oh, right.
And if you could comment on that, please.
Okay. As far as has there been contact with Japan, I don't actually know at this particular point, though I know there have been more and more sightings over Japan than there ever has been. And I don't know if there's actually been some contact. So let's go back to Japan sinking. Yes, I was in fact told that it would. I am absolutely glad it hasn't. But let me just share with you something new that was given to me or shared with me this is the first time I'm publicly actually ever talking about it. As many of you are probably aware or do suspect, there has been a considerable amount of intervention in helping the Earth minimize dramatic Earth changes. As you know, many people have said they were going to be happening a lot sooner, and many dramatic things haven't yet, thank God. Now, this brings us to what's happening in the Pacific. The Earth's core and the equator are, in fact, expanding. And what's happened is benevolent groups have been slowing that expansion down to minimize dramatic change, to basically buy us some time. However, what's happened now is that because of their intervention, more and more volcanoes are going off because the Earth is not being allowed to expand as fast as she wants to. So what's happening now is they're having to make some choices. And the biggest concern right now is the Pacific plate. It is cracking virtually right down the middle.
Whoa.
And if it cracks, what you're going to have is Indonesia and the Philippines will start moving towards the Indian Ocean. And to the north of the crack, the northern piece of the Pacific plate is going to rise up and literally form a chain of islands across the Pacific. This, however, would, of course, cause an absolute catastrophe for anyone on the Pacific coastlines, anywhere. They're going to have to make some decisions. And I was given this information 2 nights ago. And that's kind of where it's at. I don't know what's going to happen at this moment. I don't want this to happen. I remember what Edgar Casey had said about Mount Pelee. I obviously don't want this to happen. But the Earth is going to change herself. And part of that geological change is also changing her own harmonic to adapt to the higher frequencies that she's getting or is becoming part of her, just like we would. You know how we adapt to a specific situation? We're fantastic at this, the human race, at adapting to different situations. Well, the Earth is exactly the same way. It's just, most people are going to be caught totally blind by the changes. So I think something's imminent. I do. I think something regarding the Pacific is imminent, and I truly pray for the people of Japan. I do not want this to happen. Or the West Coast, or Mexico, or anywhere in South America, or, Indonesia, the Philippines. I don't know. But that's new information.
Don't forget Chile.
That's all I know.
Remember, Chile had a 9-point something or other prior to the Japanese quake. So clearly, as you say, that plate is moving dramatically.
It is. It's being risen up. It's being pushed up. And what they're doing is they're trying to hold it down and to divert the energy in other places. But there's just too much now. What they've been doing is now creating other problems. And he was just letting me know that there's going to be a change in the approach to that, and there could be some real dramatic movement. Again, they're trying to manage the situation to help us.
Right.
And it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, planetology is is an amazing thing. So,
yes.
And I'll tell you this: the planetary races that are involved in this are all experienced in terraforming.
Right.
So they have their best of the best here to try to help.
Sure. Right. I know.
And that's what I know before I know.
Thank you for that question. And that's the ironic dichotomy that we're in the midst of. On one side, you've got these really evildoers, and then the other side are these like almost angelic beings that are here to help us any way they can. And we're stuck in the middle of it. I mean, it's a very, very dynamic and a very interesting place to live, especially at this time. Let's see if I can get a Skype call. Skype caller, can you hear me? Hello, I hear you typing. Okay. I'm going to remind people again, you never know when I'm going to go to you, because I really don't. I don't have a whole lot of control over this sometime. I'm going to try this one more time. Skype caller, can you hear me? Boy, Skype is not being my friend tonight. Okay, let's try this. Area code 928, can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Muggsy. I have a radio show. I'm with JP. And I just wanted to tell Alex, thank you for breaking through that glass ceiling. All of us hosts now, we've got a lot of courage and kind of a direction because you broke through that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You know, hindsight's always 20/20. I'm still not there yet. But thank you very much.
You know, a lot of us there's a lot of radio hosts that would really like to help you, and if you give us the opportunity. So I'll let Robert get with JP, but we want to help you. What you're doing is fantastic.
Thank you so much, Maxie.
Okay, here's my question.
Okay.
When I view souls, I get a color with them. There's specific colors. And I don't know if it's because of the dimension, like the resonancy, or is it the, like, soul where they came from? Because sometimes I'll get a blue, sometimes it's a gold, sometimes it's like an iridescent, or there's different colors of violet that I'll pick up on. Do you have any idea what that would indicate?
Well, it's not a place. What's been shared with me is the predominant color is a life purpose. Okay? It is not a specific dimension but a purpose, a specific purpose that people have come in to experience. And it is along that bandwidth of frequency, of vibration, that the predominant life experiences they have will be in. And off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what dark blue is, or light blue, or violet, or orange, or yellow, but whatever those specific bands are, those are the lessons or the experiences that they've chosen predominantly to experience in this life. Because, you know, Earth is just a holograph, and we contain all those bands of colors, even ones we don't even see because of our limited vision.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I know about that.
Could you talk a little bit about the monetary system? Because I've heard your lectures. I know what the A-team thinks of money, and we all want to get away from the monetary system. Do you see that in our future? Is there a way around that? Is there some kind of advice for that?
Well, you know, it is funny you should mention that. Robert and I had that conversation earlier today.
Yep.
And I even said to Bob, God, Bob, we ought to save some of this conversation for the radio show.
Mm-hmm.
So here you go. Thank you so much for bringing it up. Obviously, Bob, we were meant to talk about it again.
Yes.
Yes, it is going to be in our future. And yes, one of the things that we talked about that actually Bob had brought up was, you know, how do we go from step A to step B in that process? And that is part of the mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the reasons why we have so many groups lining up to work with us at that moment when it's pivotal for them to step in and introduce themselves, and we won't freak out or react like a bunch of ninnies grabbing our skirts and running for the heavens or for the hills.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Yes, it is absolutely going to be in our future. We're like the only ones who use money here. And, you know, they're not going to make the exception. We need to get on the same page as the rest of the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a control mechanism from day one, and we're going to be shaking that off because that's truly level. It's just we don't know how to live without money. or to be part of a system that doesn't have money, and we have to be taught how to value things that are far more important than money or just someone's individual labor every single day. There's a lot of ways to look at the value of not only a life, but of a person and what they do and what they bring. And we're going to need some help getting over that hump. But yes, it is in our future. I would venture to say that 25 years from now, we will not be having a monetary system. It could be sooner, but I'm kind of giving myself a little, hedge there. If things continue to progress the way that they are, we'll be throwing away money. We will see how a control mechanism it really is. We got several emails. It's interesting from the last show, and one particular gentleman was talking about he had been taken to another planet where there were Navy people in uniform, U.S. Navy people, and he said they were incredibly happy. And just before he had to come back, he was taken to a store, and the extraterrestrial that was with him said, take what you want. And this young man said, well, I don't have any money. And the extraterrestrial just looked at him and said, well, we don't take money. We don't use money, so it's okay. And he didn't know what to do, That's how conditioned we are, and we've become here. That's a fantastic question. It is coming, and just imagine how happy we would be if we didn't have to have it in order to live and survive, and we could live in comfort without it.
Yes,
Just think about how much energy, how much time, stress, aggravation, bullshit we have to put up with in order to get a piece of paper with pictures on it.
And
this is what Assays used to call it. Paper with pictures on it. And then, of course, there's that enigmatic question that he asked me that's haunted me forever since he said it. Why do you have to pay to live on a planet you were born on?
Right.
And
what are you paying with anyway? Who's issuing all the credit? We could spend a whole show talking about this, and it would just
make believe. It's just make believe.
Well, yeah, but it's still a control mechanism for the elitists that want to distribute it because they want to control the distribution of all goods and services on the planet.
It's more than that. It's control of the population. It's control of the soul, control of consciousness, the control of the ability of us to create physicality. They have us by the cojones because we're all chasing this paper with pictures on it.
Well, speaking of that, I am going to go to a commercial break. I think that's a fairly decent segue to say I have to do a self-promotional ad for myself. Okay, so just hold on I'll be right back in a couple minutes, Alex.
All right.
Okay, Alex, we're back on, and hopefully I can find my place here because honestly, there's a lot of people calling in here. I've never had this many people on the board before. I hope it doesn't crash. Well, let's see. Let's see if I can do this one. Area code 517.
Oh,
you're on the air.
Hey.
Hi.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Good, thanks.
This is the first time I've called into a station like this, but I'd like to point out on something what Alex said about the monetary system. I agree with him. I don't think we should have to pay to live in a world we were born on. But at the same time, I'm more concerned about the fact with the health care. Why is it that if we're a resource, why are we denied our health in order to continue fulfilling that role? You ever wonder on that? It just seems like, once it's like you were that horse that's on that last leg, and next thing you know, they're sent to the glue factory, It seems like it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. If you're asking me to be able to paint you a picture of how everything on this planet makes sense, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I simply, just look at, the world governments, in order to enrich themselves with more money, which of course is an illusion, they're willing to kill millions of people with wars. I don't understand. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but I don't understand why that makes sense, how we would even let them get away with it, and why we even tolerate it. It just makes no sense to me.
Well, you know what? I'll jump in.
Alex,
I did address this before about the archons, that they feed off the negative energy. So it's not only an industry for people here in this physical dimension, it's for those who are not in the physical or into the higher dimension that is on the negative side. My understanding is that they're actually, it's like a drug for them, or a food and a drug, that they need us to suffer and to be hateful. So it not only...
Why would we as a population even tolerate this?
This was part of the key...
I don't. It's frustrating for me.
Me too, but and that was why the response was so big last time I got on Coast to Coast and talked about this particular level of archon that looks like an amoeba, a very large amoeba. It insinuates itself into our consciousness in a way that it's hard to distinguish, especially if you're not even aware that these things exist. Then how would you know that there's a secondary voice speaking to your conscious, telling you to hate, to kill? I mean, it's not just the media that's doing this. And besides, if everybody's influenced by them equally or to some degree, it would explain a lot as to the misbehavior. I mean, it's so inhuman or inhumane that you have to wonder, is it an alien influence? I've wondered this for many years. I addressed it in my second book, Covert Encounters in Washington, D.C. I knew that some of the politicians and other leaders have been influenced by demonic forces, but until I recently came across this information about the archons and put out a press release, I had no idea that everybody was vulnerable to or susceptible to some sort of intervention in their consciousness, where basically you're hearing a voice thinking it's your own, and it's not. It's these entities. And they're very low level, but they do a very good job of insinuating themselves into our minds and causing us to basically hate and kill and hurt one another and even ourselves at times. So just so that they can feed off of that negative energy that's being generated. So hopefully that explains for the caller. And for you, Alex, because like I said, the response I got last time I put it out there nationally was amazing. People of all ages were telling me, yes, we see these things. We know they're evil. Thank you for bringing it up. Now I don't feel so crazy. And, these things are, we got pictures of them,
Sure. I mean, it's interesting. I hadn't thought about this in a little while, but I just recalled a situation where I was with Mornay and Pyhsical, and we were in Mornay's scoutcraft, and we were sitting up above the United States, and they were watching on their monitors the news. Mm-hmm. And I remember telling Mornay, that's not a good idea, and Pyhsical was looking at something, and we walked over, and he was looking at a news broadcast from Chicago. Uh-huh. And it was about a shooting where a Chicago policeman had shot a black man who had done something or was running away from something or was a suspect. Uh-huh. And then he desperately tried to save his life, the policeman.
Right.
And Pyhsical just didn't understand, if you wanted to save his life, why did you try to kill him in the first place?
Right. And
I just simply... tried to explain it, but I didn't get anywhere because in reality, it doesn't always make sense to me either.
No, and that was what I was saying about Washington D.C. How can you be an elected representative of the people and then you turn around and rule against the will of the people? Did you lose your mind, or are you possessed?
That's a fascinating thought. Here you have the people who created the states. Mm-hmm. Then the states created the federal government. Mm-hmm. Now the federal government has overruled and declared itself sovereign from the states, and now the federal government claims that it owns the people, and now it claims that the people are in fact the enemy.
Right. Right. I know
that makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, only if you put it in. Right, but only if you put it into the perspective of something that most people find very difficult to accept, which I put in the conclusion of my second book. I was not pleased with this, but I think it's accurate, and that's why I stand behind what I wrote. There are people in Washington, D.C. who are possessed by demons, clearly. And I give concrete evidence for this. It's not conjecture on my part. I wish it was that simple. I would tell you straight out if this was some sort of opinion that I was just holding, but it's not. It's an observation, and I thought it was a very good journalistic endeavor on my part, and it takes a little courage to go out there and actually take on Washington, D.C. Fortunately, nothing bad has happened to me yet, and hopefully nothing will, but my goal is to help liberate this world, and I'm sure we'll discuss that more as time goes on, but I feel obligated that we're running out of time, and there's so many people. The technology it's just driving me nuts tonight.
There's no question. There's no question Washington, D.C. needs an enema. There's no question.
Well, it needs an exorcism, actually, but unfortunately, the Vatican can't do it because they've been infiltrated by the same demonic forces, and they admitted it. And I've got that in the book as well. Nothing against the church. It's just that's the way it is. Power structures here on this planet, almost every power structure I've ever encountered has been influenced by these archons to the point of corruption and cruelty. So some people have been on hold here a long time. I'm going to try and go to them first.
Okay.
Area code 940. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hey, Robert.
Hello.
I was going to get on the speakerphone here. Hello.
Sure. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Happy New Year to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Alex. I've been following both your work. You for a longer time, of course, Alex, and I've been following the conversation tonight, and I'm changing my questions as I listen, of course. I have a question, Alex. The group that you're involved with, is this the same group as Tolek's group?
No, it's not.
Okay.
These are fifth dimensional beings, and I believe Tolek's group are fourth.
Okay.
They're in a completely different harmonic. They may well know each other or of each other,
right.
But they live and exist in a completely different harmonic. I
gotcha. I'm looking at the world. I'm looking at the news today like you two are. And, with all these bases being shut down and these frequencies being shut down, I'm not seeing it, in the news. you know what I mean? I'm not seeing it. I see a lot of chaos. I feel the confusion in people. So many people, as you were both talking earlier, are so externalized. I think people really need to start reeling themselves in a little bit and quit wanting to be entertained and shut off the media, as like you said before, Robert. Like turn off your TV sets, relax, quit texting people, go within a little bit and know who you are. And that's why these negative forces are talking to everybody. But when your consciousness is focused totally outside of you, you don't even know whose voice you're listening to.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And all these technological gadgets we have, if we could find our center and learn telepathy, we could be doing all of this without any technology.
Right. You know what? It reminds me of when back in the 80s when we were going up to the mountains a lot in Malibu. I did have a vision of, prior to the InnerNet, I thought it looked like a giant spider web. And they made it clear to me that we're all connected through this thing. I mean, in the movie Avatar, they talked about it this way. But the InnerNet is sort of a corruption of what already exists, but most of us are not plugged into it. This web of life, of consciousness, is there. It is, and it spreads out throughout the entire cosmos. And so we can tap into that, but it takes training, and it also takes an awareness that this thing even exists. So, like a spider's web, the way it was shown to me was like a spider's web. A spider can feel everything in its web, as long as it's in the web. We're not in the web. We've taken ourselves out, or I should say, we've been divorced from it by the dark side, and they've put us into an artificial web of their creation, and in essence isolating us from this cosmic web of life. It's not a spider's web, but it reminded me of when I saw it, it was really interesting because it's sort of these just filaments, these very fine filaments of light that connect everything and everyone. But just like the internet that we're on here right now, you can easily disconnect yourself from it, right? And therefore you can't communicate. Same with the radio. There's radio and television waves passing through right now, thousands of different channels. We can't hear it unless you're tapped into it. And that's I'm just giving an analogy. I know it's not the best, maybe not the best one, but I am trying, and again, I think I got to rush if we're going to get through all these calls. Area code 720, can you hear me? 720, I hear you. Can you hear me? All right. 720, one more time. You're up, and you're out of there. Okay. I know.
Going.
Yep, area code 352. Are you there? Okay, folks, if you're listening to this show, you may actually be missing your opportunity to speak to myself and Alex. Okay, area code 352, one more time.
I put a link into a video that Ben Fulford posted all these documents of.
Okay.
I mean, it was one for a World Trust document that was signed in 2005 by Fernando Marcos, Queen Elizabeth,
right,
Ronald Reagan, and a couple of other names on there.
Could you get a little closer to your phone?
Do you remember what the trust was? It was like TVM 666 or something.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. It's too far away from the phone. I really couldn't hear what she was saying, and I bet everybody else couldn't either. Okay.
Let's talk about that for a moment. The 666.
Go ahead.
If you go on YouTube and you do a search for the law, the three trusts,
mm-hmm.
There is a gentleman on there. The information is remarkable. He proves that the Church, the Vatican, created three trusts, and in these trusts, one trust says it owns the planet, one trust says it owns our souls, and one trust says it owns everything inside and on the surface of the planet,
wow,
including us. And that's where he thinks it comes from, and he shows you the proof of the trusts, when they were created, and the years they were created, and which popes created them. It is absolutely remarkable.
Please repeat. Where do you get that information?
It's called the law.
Yeah.
The -3 trusts, and I cannot think of his name at the moment because, I'm here with you on the radio, but it's on YouTube.
Okay.
And and when we get off here, Bob, tomorrow I will send that information to you,
okay.
And maybe you could put it up on your website.
Absolutely.
But he gives a series of lectures proving that 666 is in fact the Vatican and these three trusts, and the names of these three trusts. Each name of the trust equals 6. The second one's name equals 6.
Uh-huh.
The third one's name equals 6.
Wow.
There's no way it's a coincidence.
Sure. Okay.
It's fascinating. So maybe that will help some folks.
Perhaps. Area code 707, can you hear me? Hello? 707, can you hear me?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. I was just listening, but the name of the man who did that video is Frank O'Collins out of Australia.
That's Australia. You got it. Thank you so much. Frank,
you're welcome.
Yes.
That's why I came up. Yes, he has a whole system called Eucadia that he's been building for 22 years as an alternate of the corrupted laws that the Roman cult created, and I'm not well enough versed in the history to talk about it, but somewhere around 750 A.D., after Charles Martel, I believe, created the Catholic Church. It was taken over by these, he calls them parasites and mind parasites, so it coincides with...
Yes, the archons, yes.
Yes, exactly.
That's right. And that's why the Gnostics had to be dealt with, because they knew this.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And all trace of indigenous human spirituality has been wiped off the earth repeatedly. His ancestry comes from the Collier Irish priest, Druid priests, and that ties in with Michael Tessarian's Irish origins of civilization. So we're at a time where this information is actually coming out, and it's really wonderful to be able to link up with each other, even though I'm on the cell phone with you, because I can't get through on the blog talk.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you brought his name up, because his work is fantastic, and a friend of mine brought that to my attention not too long ago, actually, and I sat there with my mouth open like, oh my God, you know, makes perfect sense. And, you know, really, I'm sure it'll blow a lot of the audience away.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. God bless. Okay.
Yep. All right, let's keep moving. Chuck, are you there?
Yeah.
Hi, Chuck.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great stuff. Well, I tried that trick the other radio guy put through, and it seems to be working.
Fantastic. Okay, so Skype people, anybody out there in Skype, if you look on the page, there should be an S. Is that what you saw? An S you click on, and that allows you to connect Skype to Blog Talk?
That's
wow,
correct.
Thank goodness. I had no idea. Learning a lot tonight, the hard way.
Me too. It's the first time I've used Skype.
All right. Okay.
Alex, can you hear me?
Alex, can you hear Chuck?
I can hear him perfectly.
Okay, go for it, Chuck. We got running out of time.
Yes, great stuff. Well, Alex, I'm glad to hear you're doing okay.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, that's right. You too, mate. It's pretty sad. I'm actually American-born, but that's another story.
Don't let that hold you back.
Yeah, really. We won't hold it against you.
Yeah, I've got a long line of military people in the family, and I'm the last one, I think. I've long gone now. But, yeah, a lot of stuff's happening now. You certainly see in the news, well, from my eyes, a lot of my friends sort of can't grasp much of it yet. I think the fear factor is there. Everything's moving. I don't know really how to put it. Well, first of all, disclosure. What do you feel disclosure? I mean, are they going to help from our friends? Are they going to just pop in and do this, or is it only going to be gradual, person by person now? Or do you think there's going to be like a pinnacle move, like if they attack Iran, would they show themselves and say, knock it off? Or, you know,
well, that's a fantastic question. You know, what does that scenario look like? And I honestly, literally think anything can happen, but I'll tell you the scenario that I think is probably the most probable. In my opinion, the scenario that's the most probable is that we have all kinds of activity out there because of the internet and because of the access that people have to satellite data and telescope data. We know they're out there, and they're everywhere. SOHO, what's around the sun, we know those are not anomalies, okay? What my belief is that the powers that be on the planet are really getting pressed into a very, very small space. And this is when they're the most dangerous, okay, is when they're wounded and backed into a corner. My opinion is that the first group we meet, they're going to try to set us up. They're not going to be friendlies. Okay, they're going to be those that are here, that are part of the Rogue Consortium, and they're going to introduce themselves and pretend to be the guys that are going to help us fix this. And it won't be long before we see through that horseshit. And then, at that point, the benevolence will step in because humanity will clearly make a choice, and we will not be in a space of fear in dealing with it. That will be taken away. And I find it interesting that everything has been sped up. And that's the scenario that I think is going to happen. I think they're going to play the Book of Revelations out because for 2,000 years, or 1,000 years, we've all been, billions of people on this planet have been creating that scenario, believing that's what was going to happen. So it would not be a stretch to buy in to this scenario that they're going to create for us. That's what I think is going to happen.
Huh. Interesting. And Chuck was taken off the line. Not by me, Chuck, if you're listening. I don't know where you went. That's the nature of Skype. I think it's easily hacked by other forces. But I do appreciate the call, and I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Bob, did I explain that clearly?
Yes, you did. I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, you did. I just, like I said, I watched him just disappear off the board. I didn't do that, I promise. I know I still got training wheels on this silly thing. I actually upgraded my equipment. I'm hoping the signal's better, but man, I'm struggling tonight with some stuff. So
sure.
Please,
Chuck, that was a good question. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we're going to hear from Chuck again. You can contact us through unicusmagazine.com, Chuck. In fact, I think he has been contacting me. There's just, like I said, it's overwhelmed with a lot of people. Area code 805, can you hear me? Hi. That's not a good sign. Damn, I swear, there's squirrels all over this place. Let's try this one, another Skype call. Hello, Reichmeister, can you hear me?
Good evening, Robert, and thank you for taking the call.
My pleasure.
My first question would be a follow-up of which Alex was already talking about. Duncan O'Finian was last week on the radio show with Randy Maugans, and he also talked about the two groups and how he works for the middle group, the Grey Walkers, and he said basically your soul is your most important thing that you have, more than any gold on earth, and that is what you have to keep on, hold on, while the earth energies are changing. How would he relate that in combination with the incoming object, because it's an added energy also alongside with the added frequency, and since the earth is changing, we as human bodies, we have to clear ourselves and raise our frequencies, and how that interrelates.
Alex, did you hear that okay?
It was kind of breaking up on my end, but I believe I caught the gist of it.
Yes.
I agree completely. Though I don't know about something about objects coming through. That part I did not get, but because it was so choppy.
Yes. He was talking about like Nibiru or some dwarf star coming through, that changing the frequencies, that we need to be focused on our soul because it is going to be changing its frequency as well.
I believe that our frequency is going to change before it gets here.
Right.
I do. I think we're well into the process of it.
Right.
Which is why a lot of folks are kind of confused, and they're looking at the scenario, looking at the world, and they're pretty fed up. And, they're really beginning to see, through the mirage that's been created for us. And remember what Abraham Lincoln once said? He always said, trust the common people. They can always be trusted to make the right decision.
True.
And ultimately, this is about us, the common people.
Right.
We're the legs everything else stands on, and we have gotten very little respect. And that's going to change here real soon.
Well, especially as we start to unite our consciousness and our focus, our efforts on a more positive future, then we're going to see miracles occur. And I mean stuff that we can't even conceive of at this time, in my opinion. Yeah, some of the people calling in on Skype, the reason I have to put you on hold quickly is because the signal is breaking up. I have no control over that, but I am trying to get through this as quickly as possible and make sure everybody gets a chance to speak tonight. This Skype caller, this is NAC2.
Hello?
Hello, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. I didn't know I was going to come on now. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Mr. Collier here, and I've been following him since his first YouTube video appeared back in 2007.
All right.
And yeah, there's a popular theory on the computer about Nibiru, and was going to ask him if it's true. They say it's hiding behind the sun.
Uh-huh.
And I got one more question before I go on hold or something. What's the Andromeda's take on 9/11?
I never had that conversation with them about 9/11.
Oh. Right.
They've been more focused on planetary issues, and not so much a singular issue, although that is major because it did change, much of the planet.
Yep.
To be honest with you, I've not had that conversation with them.
All right, no worries.
But let's go back to your first question. Our entire solar system is moving. Even though we are moving around our sun, the sun is also moving.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it hiding per se? No, it isn't hiding there. It's entering our solar system at a certain angle, 15 degrees right ascension of Neptune's orbit, which at one particular time could be behind the sun from us, but it isn't hiding. And it is coming. I just don't know the exact moment that we're going to see it, but we will know. There is no way they're going to be able to hide it.
Right.
But we will be pretty much awake when it comes through. We will. And that's the plan. That's the plan. The plan is for us to be awake when this thing comes through.
Right.
And the world powers, they're freaking out because we're getting it. We're getting it, and they did it themselves. They got too powerful, too greedy, too selfish, too maniacal, too dastardly, and they're gonna undo themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And once that happens, they start feeding on each other, and then the rats abandon ship.
Mm.
And once they start talking, it's game over. And it's coming, folks. It's coming.
Right.
So, but again, you got to work on your inside. You have to work on the inside. The InnerNet, not internet, but inner, I-N-N-E-R. You got to work on that.
Right, and that's what
paramount.
connects you. Right, and that's what connects you to the thing I was describing before, the cosmic web, the true web that connects us all, and it requires some effort, especially in this world and this time, because there's so many distractions. But this is why we had suggested before that you go someplace quietly and meditate. It's meaning you still your mind. For me, I would say it's probably one of the most difficult things to do, but it's one of the most beneficial things that a person can do. And whatever technique you use to quiet the internal dialogue and really start listening and allow yourself to connect to the cosmos, then that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do as often as possible. NAC2, I'm sorry I had to put you on hold, but I'll tell you this much. What I know about 9/11 and the extraterrestrials is that there was allegedly an effort to begin an ambassadorship program, according to Philip Kraft, that was put on hold because of 9/11. And what he didn't know was that the effort towards disclosure was moving forward in Washington, D.C., in that same time period, 2001. Around that time, there was very serious efforts for disclosure to occur. There was a lot of dialogue behind the scenes that was going on about how to proceed with disclosure, and of course, it all came to a screeching halt in September of 2011. However, what you should know, and what I've documented in my work over 6 years investigating Washington, D.C., is that the next summer, July 16th specifically, of 2002, is when they landed on the Capitol building. And I know that sounds crazy to people when they first hear it, but if you go to my website at unicusmagazine.com and click on books, you'll see for yourself. Look at the photographs. We have actual 35-millimeter film of a swarm of UFOs around the Capitol. One of them actually landed on the roof. And, in Native American culture, that was called counting coup, where you actually touch your enemy. It was a way of shaming them. And it was, as far as my understanding, the good ETs were saying, look, you can't stop us from coming down here. If we really want to do it, we can do it. Now, we're giving you a time period to get your act together. And, of course, the bad guys are not listening. They're running off on their own little crazy tangent, and it's to the detriment of all life on this world. And, as we know, that really needs to be stopped. Okay.
Well, that nonsense isn't going to go on much further.
Right.
Everybody has a limit to what they're going to allow, and
right.
We're very close to that. But I wanted to just touch on, about going outside and getting centered.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, even if it's just a few minutes a day, like a lunch break, a cigarette break, or if you actually have some time to just stand in the sun and just look up at the sun, close your eyes, and project yourself into the sun. The sun is very, very important to me. And just project yourself into the sun and see yourself in the middle of it and just see how your body feels. And it doesn't take very long at all, literally just moments. And, it will help change your attitude quite a bit.
Yeah, and it'll help activate or reactivate the third eye, which has been blinded.
Yeah, your pineal gland.
Our pineal glands on this world have been so blinded. Third eye blind is not just a phrase, it's an actual fact. That the dark side has done a very, very good job at blinding our inner or third eye with the use of various chemicals. So what I was told is, like Alex said, stand in the sunlight, allow it to penetrate, welcome it in, broadcast some of your light, exchange some of your light internally with the sun, because it is a consciousness. It's the most powerful direct link to the consciousness of the universe that we have in our immediate grasp in this dimension. Area code 585, can you hear me?
This is John. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hey.
Hey, Brother Alex and Brother Robert. Awesome. First thing, thank God for YouTube and Alex Collier. When I was waking up and I saw Alex Collier the first time, my mouth dropped. It's an awesome job getting the information out there. It really helps. Hey, Alex, I'll make it quick because I'm sure there's other callers that want to get on there.
Yeah.
Just read something today from Matthew's messages about soul contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So what he's saying is that the Illuminati had soul contracts in here to be of the dark side, but at some point those soul contracts were supposed to switch to the light. Any comment on that, Alex? Have you heard anything like that?
No, well, not specifically put in those terms. But I did say earlier that, it's almost like they're now forcing us to move in this particular direction. And I don't know if it was the design or not. But, I suppose that there is a possibility or a probability that maybe some people came in to be assholes. Specifically, maybe that was what they needed to experience, to come in and just say, well, I'm going to go to Earth and I'm going to be an asshole this lifetime. Maybe that's true. Maybe that is true. I don't know. I suppose we have to be open to it, but at what point do you say, okay, the jeans no longer fit, you're too much of an asshole?
Right.
I don't know. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I saw some of that information too, and I was unable to fully, I was kind of running out of time before the show, so I'm going to go back to that. There's a lot of good information out there, and anybody who wants to share it here on this forum, this is an open forum. As long as you're coming from the heart, I'd love to hear from you. And the quickest way to contact me is through email at Unicus at editor at unicusmagazine.com. Area code 903, you're on the air. 903, can you hear me?
Going once,
yep.
Going twice.
And you're out of there. Well, I tried. Okay. Area code 414, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. Hi, Robert. I'm
Hello.
so honored to talk to both of you.
Thank you.
Hi.
My name is Sai. I'm from Milwaukee. I'm Hmong-Tu. My people, we practice shamanism for healing as well. Unfortunately, I don't have that healing power, but about healthcare, Alex, do you have a recommendation for our current healthcare that you find or you see that is beneficial to humans, and that maybe if I want to go into healthcare, maybe I can go into something like that? And number two, do you have a Facebook or personal website?
I don't have a personal website. In Facebook, $400 million of Facebook's budget is funded by the CIA. So I'm not on that. So the answer is no. I have enough trouble with those cats.
Yeah.
So 414, let me just say this. The Andromedan people, though they are of a higher dimension, are human beings. Right. They use color, light, and sound to heal their bodies, as well as holographic technology to help regrow limbs, to regrow organs, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are technologies on Earth that are maybe not similar or exactly like that, but that are similar that have been suppressed. The reason they've been suppressed is because not only does it heal people quickly, but the medical community cannot charge an absolute fortune and mortgage your life to heal you.
Mm-hmm.
If you were going to do anything in that field, I would love to see you in a group be able to do something about getting those suppressed patents out to the people of the planet. And that goes also for free energy. There are over 6,000 free energy patents that are being suppressed. And that's a fact.
Yep.
So as far as what it is today, the only suggestion I have is to try to keep your body alkaline.
Mm-hmm.
Alkaline, because disease does not grow in an alkaline environment.
Right. Yeah, liquid minerals.
Thing I can tell you,
Yeah, there's a few things that absolutely help that. The quickest one, obviously, is sea salt helps, but there's a liquid mineral formula I take it every day. It really makes a difference. Let's see. 805, are you on the line now? Hello? Well, okay. Back up here. This is really very interesting to see. Area code 479. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Natalie from Arkansas.
Hi, Natalie.
Hi. Thank you both
Hi.
for all you do.
Welcome.
Helping us to wake up. My question for Alex has to do with the Patal. I'm very intrigued about that race ever since I first read about it. I'm wondering if there's anything further that he can tell us about it, and how we might recognize their signature, if there are any individuals that he could name that in our history that were Patal and so forth. Thank you.
Thanks, Natalie.
Natalie, that's a great question, and I don't. I have told you all that I know that was shared with me. I have not been shared any type of signature, nor have I been told of any one specific person. But let me just reiterate some particular points that they really, really stressed to me. Was that two particular points. That some Patal fell back into the concept of time in order to help move things along. And in that, a significant number of souls And I will tell you straight away, I am assuming that they are one and the same. And I have a reason for assuming that they're one and the same. That a particular group of souls have come back in time to Earth to right a terrible wrong. And it's going to work this time.
Good.
Whatever happened the last time, I guess it wasn't to everybody's satisfaction, so they're redoing it. And I believe that it is, in fact, Patal that are doing this. Now, is that particular soul group all of us, some of us, a group of us? I think at this point, with the bad guys so desperate, that identities are probably being shielded for obvious reasons.
Right.
Because they're movers and shakers. They're special forces on the soul, on the dimensional level. You know, they come in and things happen. That's my take on it, and I'm sticking to it.
you know, Alex, I can't believe how. I mean, I shouldn't say this, but it's really blowing my mind how many people are calling in tonight.
I think it's wonderful.
Would you be available to do another show again some other time? Yeah, and this time I promise I will not have training wheels on the system. It's ridiculous. What I've had to, I'm learning on the fly, okay, folks? I mean, I wasn't born an engineer. I think I'm a fairly good host, but trying to juggle all this stuff, it's difficult. So anyway, area code 972, can you hear me?
I can.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please, quickly. I need a question or a comment or both.
Okay, sure. I had listened to a show of Alex's, and he was talking about his galactic friends having, I guess, Alex, was it kind of like a supercomputer where they could monitor everyone's thoughts and they could kind of see what was in their hearts?
Every craft has that. Every single craft has that device.
Wow.
Yes.
So,
and what they do is they read your chains of thoughts.
Really? So, I mean, what does that give them? I mean, does it just give them a percentage of people who are enlightened on Earth, or what is the true purpose for it?
To actually read intentions of those particular races that are not telepathic. That device is specifically used on 4 races that are not telepathic. Because when you are telepathic, and you're talking to someone else who's telepathic, there are no secrets.
Right.
Right.
There just aren't any secrets. You either avoid telepathic communication so they can't read you, or if you do have a conversation, they see you. There is no hiding.
Yeah, it's not just seeing, it's a feeling. It's a feeling, and there's an exchange of emotions as well as informations, and even visualization, I believe, is shared, like a television.
It's like a snapshot of the entire holograph that is you.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
So when you're when you're like talking to your guardians or your angels, are you really talking to galactics? I mean, is that a stupid question?
No, because
no, not at all.
That's the big $64 million question that the church doesn't want to answer.
That's the way I've always felt. Is that?
Of course.
I mean, I kind of had somebody out there. I know I've had people watch. I mean, well, whoever watching over me.
Yeah, right.
But I didn't feel like it was somebody on a fluffy cloud playing a harp.
No. That's an abstraction for the period of time that we were living in. Also, it's a corruption of what really is. But our relationship to them, you know, in the Catholic Church, the communion, the Eucharist, that has been taken far afield of what it was originally intended to be, which was a way to communicate with our extraterrestrial family. And that is something that I encourage people to do. Maybe not through taking communion per se, unless they understand that that's the whole concept. Communion means to communicate with these higher entities. And like I said, the main thing is to realize that we are connected to them. We're all family. So,
right.
You know, that's something that, again, I believe will evolve in time. My understanding of it has evolved tremendously. I'm not a Catholic, but I did a version of Ave Maria in English with a message that had been channeled to me when I asked, you know, what is this all about? You know, what does this mean? And boy, was I shocked. Was I ever shocked? It was someone in a higher dimension was saying to me, bringing a scenario together. Okay, the enunciation was, we're bringing one of our own to your world to assist you, and that our love for you is never ending. And that blew me away. I mean, emotionally, it gives me just, I feel like my heart's going to break, because not out of sadness either. It's just amazing that they still love us so unconditionally, considering, how just wicked we can be at times. And I think the reason they still feel that way about us is because they know we've been manipulated into being like this. It's not our true nature. This is all. Go ahead.
And just one more part, and I'll.
Okay, sorry.
Let's talk continue.
Go ahead.
Through meditation, if you really put out there that you really want to have a connection, will they eventually get around to it, or
of course,
is it just not, really possible, or can they see in your heart that you really truly want to make a connection?
Yes, I believe they do. They absolutely do.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. That's what I'm trying to explain to you, caller. Is that I'm going to put you on hold. Thanks. Is that they feel what we feel. It's kind of painful for them, because I don't, my understanding is that they don't have to deal with all the crap that we have down here unless they start tuning into us. And then they're basically receiving everything that we're feeling. And that could be quite overwhelming for them. So I think they have to be on guard when they do have contact with this, because it isn't just like an intellectual exercise. It's what Alex is talking about, and what I mentioned too. When you have telepathic conversations or communication, it's really deep. I mean, there isn't any secrets, and you can actually feel what the other person is feeling. It's not that nonsense about, I feel your pain. No, they really feel your pain. And that, of course, it's not like they want to feel it, but when you're having that level of communication, you can't help it. So,
okay, well, let me just interject something here.
Please do.
You made a comment about them feeling really protected and guarded.
Mm-hmm.
It is not. It is, but what's amazing about us as a species is our extremes of emotions.
Yeah.
Okay? Most of these particular races are, even the regressives, they're very calm. They don't experience the extremes that we do. Okay? And they simply do not know how to process that much emotion so quickly.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. I mean, we go through emotions from anger to love to joy to bliss to confusion to fear every day pretty quickly. We can have all those emotions in 2 hours.
Or less, yeah.
Okay, where they may not experience any of those to the extreme we do ever in their lifetime.
Right.
Unless they're in front of us or communicating with us in some way. And you remember the story, Bob, where I was on the mothership and I walked on and we walked into a park area and the children moved away from me. And it was because I was completely overwhelmed, and it was because they were feeling my emotion.
Right.
They didn't understand it, they didn't recognize it, and they moved away.
Sure.
And also, Morning had said that we've been teaching them about your race, and they knew about our extremes, our generosity, our love, our anger, our war, our cruelty. They knew all of it, but they themselves never experienced any of that.
Right.
Except maybe love and joy, So, I wanted to clarify that for the audience.
Yeah, thank
Let's
you.
get another caller.
Okay. Well, we're really up against the clock here, folks. For those of you who I haven't gotten to, please understand that I want to get to everybody, and I'll let you know next time we're having a show with Alex. I'd like you to try and call back. Area code 718. Can you hear
how
me?
you doing, buddy? This is Vince calling from New York.
Hi, Vince. How are you?
You really blew me away with that Ave Maria thing, bro. That was awesome. Thanks so much, man. I'd love to hear that. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
My question is this. There's 2 stars. There's a brown star, brown dwarf coming in to our solar system they're speaking of on the AndromedaCouncil.com. I don't know if you I've heard of that.
Sure.
But what I'm interjecting here is this star that's coming in, is this related to the blue star Kachina, the Hopi Indian prophecy? Is that possible?
No.
Can we? Because it's
no. I don't believe they're actually related. But I don't have a very specific or clear answer about exactly what the blue star Kachina is or where it's coming from. But I will do my best to see if there's any way I can find out.
Okay, yeah, because they're saying that there's. Yep, I appreciate that. And the other question is, if you don't mind, can we interject? Can we go over the deep underground military bases quick? Are they actually getting rid of the Dracs and the Greys out of these bases?
They want to, but they don't have the ability. An extra element has to be included in order to make that possible.
And what is that? Can you say?
Intervention. Specific intervention of other groups that can deal with them, who have dealt with them in other places off-world,
right?
Like special forces teams. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you is it's going to happen.
All right.
Okay? But there has to be some education, and our particular governments on this planet have not been very good at keeping their word.
Yeah, that's an understatement.